to go live. Your Amazon FBA launch, how to sync or soar. Hopefully you choose the latter. We'll be starting in just a bit here. I'm checking all of our streams, doing all the weird technical stuff that we need to do to make sure we're working. I'm excited about this. I think this is going to be good.
Yeah.
Especially for people that already have products. Let's see here. It looks like LinkedIn is coming online. All right. That one's doing well. Good. LinkedIn's live. YouTube. Let's see if YouTube's doing well. Yeah, YouTube is doing well. It's not good hearing myself through that weird little echo that happens when you when you check these things. Last thing I wanted to hear is hear more Sean, All right. Let's see if Twitter looks like it's coming up as well too. Yeah, good. It looks like all of our platforms are up. That's good. Got 3 minutes till we get rolling here on your Amazon FBA.
We'll be starting in just one sec. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. All right. I apologize for the technical difficulties, chat. We're working on getting Sean's audio fixed. So we'll be starting here in just a moment. Going over the Amazon FBA launch Sink or Swim. That's really exciting stuff we're going to be going over today. It almost can be viewed as like a part two to what we were going over last week when we're doing uh, product selection. Now we're kind of talking about the next stage, which is kind of moving forward. Whoops, one second. There's an echo going on. But what we were going over last time with the product selection. So now we're going to be going into more specifics on actually kind of taking that launch to the next level, especially if you're kind of a seller with existing products, maybe ones that have sold pretty decently on Etsy, on Shopify, platforms like that. Amazon's really kind of the next step for a lot of those. When you're speaking about Etsy, when you're speaking about Shopify, or especially on Shopify, you're talking about how you're kind of generating your own traffic, how you push through on that, and it's a bit of an entirely different skill set that whenever you're your own kind of solopreneur, your small business, that's not always realistic for something for a lot of new people to learn. So Amazon solves a lot of that. It's bringing in its own traffic. So we'll go over details on how to really capitalize on that. So super excited for some of the details we're going to be going on for that in a little bit here. Sean should be rejoining in just a second. He's just troubleshooting some of his audio. Can you hear me okay, chat? You want to shoot a message in the chat and let me know if you can hear me talking okay. That'd be helpful. It seems like my audio is at least coming through, so hopefully we're heading in the right direction. Apologize for the late start. We'll get going here very shortly. Let me see if I can share my screen. We'll start on this kind of slide here as well. Where it is. Oh, we got Sean back. There we go.
Yay! All right.
Awesome.
Sorry,
Thanks for sticking with us.
I had to switch out my whole internet there provider, whatever it was, to go to a different one. We have a mobile Wi-Fi. Let's see if my sharing will work. Will my sharing still work, Jacob? Is my screen up now?
Looks good.
Good, awesome. Well, we'll officially start. This is how to do your Amazon FBA launch, how to sync or soar. Hopefully you choose the latter, how to soar. And after we kind of go through everything today, I believe that you'll have everything you need to get you going on the right track to make your Amazon FBA launch a soaring success. Some things that I want to show you are pretty exciting right here, just as an opening thing. I'm going to actually show you some listings and then kind of show you what's happening with these listings. There's some exciting stuff happening with these listings here that they probably just look like everyday common listings to you. And since my internet went down, I have to kind of pull them all back up to get them reloaded. But there's some really exciting stuff on those as well too that I want to show you here. And there's this little tool down here that I'm going to pull up. It's called Jungle Scout. And what it lets us do is see what's going on a listing as far as sales. So we can see right here on this graph right now that there was nothing going up to about March, April timeframe. It looks like the end of March. And then all of a sudden sales came in. And what that's telling us is that this product was launched around March and is already doing about $120,000 a month and kind of came up there, popped in and doing that. If we look at some other these, pulling up our Jungle Scout tool. So this is for cruise wear. We can see this one just launched in August, already is doing $171,000 a month. And what I love about this listing is it's just travel vacation outfits. They've kind of found a niche that is, I suppose they could use this clothing for anything, but Jacob, I love this. It's kind of an SEO play, maybe is what's going on here, where they're just
people want to feel comfortable in the airport. Nothing too crazy there.
Yeah, and I thought it was pretty good too. So just like you probably get these clothes just about anywhere, but the positioning of this on Amazon was I thought was kind of unique. And what was this one pulling in 171,000? It only launched back in March. I thought this one was interesting, just a 40 pack. Like they're not even able, just this kind of really stupidly simple marketing. Jacob, what would you say about this marketing on this?
I mean, it's surprising they're getting
Anything
some
super?
traction going. Nothing too
Yeah,
exciting. The
let's
main
see.
image, it's a whole lot of white.
Yeah, white on a white background, which is like one of the
Yeah,
worst things to do. This one is making $234,000 a month. It launched in August, the beginning of
August
August
there.
too. So
Wow.
you can see its jump up there. Yeah, so that's exciting. That's a new launch as well too. Here we have look like a daylight filtering blackout curtains. This actually I don't think is bad as far as image design stuff. Jacob, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, it needs a little bit more contrast, but especially with a beige product. But
The contrast, but what I think is they're not really selling though. Like they're just
yeah,
kind of putting up marketing. So I'm not going to call this exceptional listing, but look, $116,000 a month, and it launched in July. So that's a new launch as well too. They've got another one up here. I love this baby's breath artificial baby's breath flowers. We can kind of see this. That's fairly standard. I would say this is Amazon marketing from like 2018 kind of
yeah,
vibe when you say some of their bouts, Jacob.
yeah, exactly. But we're
Then
coming
we've
into
got
wedding season, so everyone wants to see the fake flowers.
good point. Yeah, that might be part of it too. So,
uh,
117,000 a month launched in when is that? January. So under a
yeah,
year now. They launched at sort of towards the beginning of this year. Here we got more blackout curtains. Good images. Just that's whatever. I think that's a lot of confusing stuff. Not saying much of anything. Okay. So barely pretty basic marketing. 178,000 on a new launch. This one launched in August, the end of August. So not that long on the boards. But this one I think is interesting. Top loader card sleeves, even duplicated titles, which is a big no-no, right, Jacob?
yeah,
And
right.
whatever on whatever on the marketing. This one launched August 10th through 16th. So that's kind of where it launched in that frame, August 10th. So just about a month ago. I love this just because I don't think people think about all the variety of things. We think about curtains, we think about food, all that kind of stuff. But this kind of stuff is interesting. Primary tin copper battery cable, $275 because this is pretty thick stuff. And I guess copper, makes a pretty penny. This one launched in, when is this? August 24th, $160,000 a month in revenue. Nothing spectacular on that one. This is okay. I think they've done a decent job of
Yeah,
marketing. I would call this sort of amateur, above beginner, amateur marketing is what I would say. So it's nothing super you can't beat, obviously. Let's see what this one pulls in. This one pulls in $96,000 a month, so lower than the other ones, but it launched this year, so it's a fairly new launch. A pre-cut aged oak brown picture matte board frames, so just a stack of matte board frames. Marketing thoughts there, Jacob?
yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about a lot of these is really seeing how just they're not really selling; they're just kind of bringing up details. Like anyone can add details to images. I think really taking you to the next step is where you're bringing in, you're speaking to why people want these products. So
Yeah, I agree 100%. $282,000 a month on that one. So all this to just kind of say that there is opportunity for launching on Amazon right now, just as there has always been. So that's one of our focuses today is how to do this, but really how to do it right. In order to do that, we're really going to sort of focus down on what are the steps to take here. And if I can find my sheet here, and we're going to do this in a very sort of systematic way, taking you through each of the steps on how to do your Amazon launch. And also, I want to kind of really my goal is to help you eliminate the struggle when it comes to launching on Amazon. And I know that can be really tough, especially confusing for people if you've never really launched onto Amazon before. So what I've done for you is created a step by step, easy to follow Amazon launch system. Basically, I've got this for you to give it to you. It's the exact process that we use with checklists and all kinds of helps and everything. So it's called our Sink or Soar full throttle Amazon launch guide. I'm giving this away to you for free. All you have to do is just comment the word fast, FAST, fast into the comments, and I'll make sure that we get that over to you. That's our gift to you just for joining today. It's free, but it kind of goes through all the details that we're covering today, plus a lot more with checklists and guides and helps and all of that kind of stuff. Really kind of what I want to do is real quick introduction by way of, talking about where we come from. Jacob and I are founders of Pro Seller Elite, and it's the Amazon community where I share my exact strategies that my team and I have used to drive over $100 million in Amazon sales on Amazon. We've done it $100 million in sales for scrappy startups, as well as some retail giants, brands that you've seen before. But I want to say this is that they're each of these brands, no matter where they're coming from, each of these brands used one method to get their sales that we're kind of talking about. And it's the method that I'm going to be going over today in that step-by-step system. But they also had the exact same problem. If you're looking at the problem that everyone had, from Disney to Windrider to Hampton and all Shade Mobile and Skin Clinic and all these things, had the exact same problem that they ended up using Amazon to solve. And that problem is that they have they were stuck in between a process. They had themselves, or you in this instance, and they had customers, and they were in need of customers, and there was something that was sticking in between them, and that is friction. And so, look, just like a rocket ship that's built like a box that's square, it has too much friction. It costs too much in fuel. It takes too long to lift off the launch pad, and then all your fuel is burned out before you even get a chance to get into outer space. The same is true on Amazon for launching onto Amazon. And what I'm seeing right now inside of the students that are coming into Pro Seller Academy, or the ones that I talk to sort of on a regular basis that we bring on as clients, what I'm constantly seeing is that they're making Amazon much harder than it needs to be. And they're really just adding friction where it doesn't need to be. And I'm saying this from two sides. One is they're adding friction for themselves that they don't need to have. And then they're adding friction on the shopper side that doesn't need to be there, and that keeps them from launching effectively. And ultimately, that kind of friction just kills Amazon sales cold. And actually, I won't just say Amazon sales, but all sales, including online sales as well too. So today I'm going to break down the system that you need to get your Amazon launch going and skyrocketing. This is the same system that we use to take a product in the health and beauty section to $68,000 in under 30 days and 28 days, and then add on to that 243,000 in just not much longer than that. It's the same system that we use to relaunch. So you can launch onto Amazon and get, and that's what we did here, but you can actually use this to relaunch. So products that are stagnant. We did a relaunch and added $1.4 million in under 6 months by relaunching onto Amazon, a product that had kind of grown stale, had sales, but just kind of had grown sales. So this is going to apply to all of those things. And the way we're really going to do this is really by focusing on what we can do to eliminate friction. But let's talk first about your friction. First of all, I mean, you're going to have the same problem that all those brands had, is that you have you here and your shoppers over here, and you want to get access to them. You want to be able to market to them, to speak to them, and then you actually want them to buy from you. And that's what every seller, every brand, every person that's ever launched onto Amazon has to deal with at some level, is how to do this. And the truth about this is that selling on Amazon is hard. First of all, you got to be able to find that group of people. Where are they? How do I go get to them? How do I speak to them? Get them to reply to you is a whole other side of the thing. How do I get them to respond to me? And that really is part of the problem, is we're dealing with selling on Amazon. Selling on online is hard. One way to go about it is by building your own site. The problem sort of with building your own site is that, it's frustrating, it's expensive, it's time consuming. I mean, agencies charge anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 just to get a site right for e-commerce. If you're going to do it yourself and say, I'm going to avoid the $6,000 to or $10,000 to have an agency do it, then you've got a whole education component that you've got to do. And that takes time to really learn how to not only get traffic, how do I get traffic onto the site, but then how do I convert them? How do I make them trust me once they're there? How do I overcome the friction of them adding their credit card to the system? All of those kind of a thing. So that's a whole new education. But even if you did build sort of the best site in the world, you still have the same problem that everyone else has, is how do you get these people onto your site? And you can even build the perfect site. There are certain companies that make this as easy as possible. These companies, Shopify, Squarespace, Wix, you could have a site up today if you really wanted to. It may be ugly, it may not work extremely well, but you could probably have a site up today. But all of these companies, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Magneto, Shopify, all of these have one and the same problem. And that problem is they have no shoppers on them. There's no shoppers sitting there waiting to make a purchase from you. And even the biggest of these, Shopify is by far the biggest of sort of all these platforms as far as making it easy to set up shop and making it easy to set up a platform that will probably most likely convert shoppers into buyers. But even that, Shopify just doesn't have the sales. They don't have traffic, first of all. But the bigger part is Amazon sellers sell $431 billion with a B, $billion annually. And these are sellers, not Amazon selling. These are sellers on Amazon selling $431 annually. About a quarter of that would be Shopify. So if you took Shopify sales and did 1, 2, 3 times that, you would actually have Amazon sellers being like 4 times what Shopify is as far as anything like that. Then if you wanted to look at some other options, so the other option would be, hey, like, let's just avoid building our own site, Wix, Shopify, whatever the case is, and go use a platform that already has traffic, because that's sort of the solution is, hey, I need traffic. So I'll go ahead and find something that will have traffic. So some of the common options are Etsy, eBay, OfferUp. Any of these would be platforms that could work for you and that would automatically have some traffic coming in. But here's the reality is Etsy's really great for handmade, and it's also a really good if you're sort of looking at like, hey, I want to find some product ideas that would do well on Amazon. We've generally found that Etsy products do well on Amazon. So if you sell on Etsy already, Amazon's a really good transition for you. It's a good place to go. But as far as looking at selling all products on there, automotive products, as far as parts, probably not going to be able to sell well on there. Over-the-counter products, probably not going to be able to sell well on there. So that's a very limited scope for buyers, I guess you might be able to say. Very limited demographic, great for handmade. Then eBay used to be the behemoth when e-commerce started out online. eBay was killing it. They launched PayPal to being what it is today, but now they're kind of a lonely junkyard for used goods and cheap knockoffs. So it's really not a viable option for most sellers. Then we have OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace. Again, not serious enough to scale. They just don't have enough people to really scale on it. TikTok's an up and comer. Everyone gets excited about TikTok and what it's doing in TikTok shops and all of that kind of stuff. And this is really good if you have the ability to do Kardashian level attention getting. If people follow you and you're already have a huge audience and people that will just listen to what you say and buy whatever you promote, TikTok's perfect for that. You can avoid all of those other scenarios, but those kind of people and building up those kind of audiences are so rare, few and far between, that most people can't do this. And then you're back to your same position, is that your traffic issues are still not solved. So what we're looking at is how do we get traffic? So with Amazon, really the traffic situation is solved. First of all, there's 150 million US phones that have the Amazon app already installed. 40% of all retail sales, digital resales, online sales already happen on Amazon. So what that's saying is that if you take all the sales from Wix, WooCommerce, all of those sites, Shopify, Target, Walmart, all the rest of the sales There's no one seller that even comes close to matching what Amazon is doing already. Amazon is the first $1 trillion companies in history. And here's the big one. Amazon has 70 million shoppers that will be online today, on Amazon today, ready to buy. And I think this is one of the most important things that I think we can talk about. And Jacob, what are your thoughts about the traffic on Amazon sort of versus like anywhere else that may be out there?
Yeah. Well, I think something people really don't consider is that, yeah, you can have platforms like TikTok where you do have traffic just by nature. I mean, there are tons of people on that platform. But the difference between that kind of traffic and then Amazon traffic is when someone is on Amazon, they're primed and ready to go. They have their credit cards ready. They're not there to look at cat videos. They're not there to just kind of kill an hour. If they're on Amazon, they're already kind of about halfway through the sales process. All you need to do is kind of push them over to the kind of final, get them across the finish line there. So I think it's really underestimated how much effort goes into that kind of first half of even just getting the attention and then priming them to buy. Now they're primed to buy. Let's just kind of get them to the sale. So Amazon at least lets you kind of circumvent the first half of that entire game, and it's a pretty hefty half to overcome too.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point, Jake. One of the things that, just going a little bit wayward here, I mean, one of the reasons why these things can launch and make the money that they're making is because they essentially are already working traffic that's already there. I mean, we kind of pointed out how a lot of these people are pulling in these sales. They're some of them are just making SEO plays. Where's the one that was the clothing? I think, oh, that was back here. I think it was this one. This one's a purely SEO play. And what that means is search engine optimization. They just set up a title and basically said, hey, this is for full travel vacation outfits. They're not
Mm.
doing anything spectacular with their marketing. I mean, this is the most boring marketing you probably got going right here. But yet to be able to sell over whatever six figures within a short period of time, they've only been on this platform for coming up on a month and a half, maybe 171,000 in revenue for a month and a half. The reason this can happen is because the traffic's already on Amazon.
Yeah.
And so so what you're saying is they're there to buy, I guess, Jacob, is kind of what you're
Yeah.
saying. It's not just
Credit cards in hand, take my money.
credit cards in. Yeah, exactly. Locked and loaded and ready to go. So I think that's a big one. And the system that makes this sort of possible for all of these players to kind of get the results that they're looking for is what's called Amazon FBA. So really quite simply is Amazon FBA is fulfillment by Amazon. That's what it stands for. It means that Amazon is taking care of fulfilling and shipping products. So here's kind of what we're up against when we just look at what goes on Amazon. You still need to figure out how to reach out and find your shoppers, how to find customers somewhere online out there hanging out together, and then you need to get them to come back to you and buy from you, and then you need to ship the product out to them, confirm that it's been received, and all this sort of circular stuff that goes on between you and your potential buyers, the ones who are out there that would be willing to buy your products, can be solved by Amazon FBA. And here's how they solve it. Amazon essentially takes care of all this stuff for you. So there's already an audience on Amazon. So, and they're already in Amazon FBA, and Amazon can, help you market to them. Basically, then you can ship out the products. Amazon will ship out the products to you. They'll confirm everything's taken of. The payments are taken care of. Everything's taken care of by Amazon FBA. You just need then to interface and learn how to interface correctly with Amazon FBA. And that's kind of what we're going to discuss today, how to have you do this correctly in as low of a friction format as you possibly can. Because Amazon's going to solve a lot of the big ones. And one of the big ones it's going to solve for you is logistics. Because look, I mean, everyone, no matter if you're selling physical products, you're going to have to deal with logistics. One of the big things that Amazon will take care of for you is, obviously they'll ship out the orders one and twosies for you. So if this shopper comes over here and he buys one, Amazon will ship out one. If this shopper comes over here and buys 10, they'll ship out 10 for you. They just literally pick and pack and ship those out for you. But at some point, you may realize like, hey, I can ship in a case or a carton from my garage. I can handle that. But what do I do when I need to start dealing with pallets and container loads? At some point, you're probably going to need to have a warehouse of some kind. No problem. You can just have this is generally called in the industry 3PL. 3PL means third party logistics handler, who will take and ship their products into Amazon, and then Amazon will in turn deal with all the customer shipments and all of that kind of stuff. So that's a big component of how you deal with products in your business. So you're going to have to somehow get them from your warehouse. But even behind that, you're also going to have a factory, a manufacturer, or somewhere that the products are coming from. This could actually be you. We have a number of clients that manufacture their own products, and then some of them ship into the warehouse, or they have the warehouse on their own, and then that goes into Amazon FBA. But look, Amazon is actually making this so stupidly simple right now that they're helping out in ways that no one ever saw coming. One of the biggest ones and the biggest game changers, probably in the past, I'd say 2 or 3 years, is Amazon warehousing and distribution. AWD is what it's called short for. But what they've essentially done is taken over this warehousing, third party warehousing portion, and just said, yeah, we're going to do that. And the reason they can do that and take them over so easily is because Amazon has been basically monopolizing logistics for the past few years. You're seeing more and more Prime vans going around that replace the FedEx and the UPS trucks. They're now got so many warehouses that they're just like, we already know how to do warehousing. Let's just go ahead and take care of this. This is really kind of an amazing system. Jacob, any words you want to mention sort of on AWD or Amazon warehousing and distribution that may be just kind of encouraging to people as they're looking at, how to do their business?
Yeah, I mean, AWD came on scene kind of a little while ago, and I think me, like a lot of sellers, we were really skeptical. There's kind of some of those horror stories about kind of companies shipping in like giant pallets and then they're gone forever. But really, in the last couple of years, Amazon's been putting a lot of their chips into kind of really just overtaking the warehousing space, and it's come a long way. It's now to the point where I think a lot of the businesses we're working with, where they're selling something, especially if we're talking about things that are bigger than like a t-shirt. If you're selling anything like with bulk or weight to it, just being able to offload that warehousing situation onto Amazon is really a game changer for some of those bigger ones. And then also for sellers who sell things like really high at scale. So if you're constantly worrying about like, oh my gosh, I'm out of stock again, I'm getting punished by Amazon because my campaigns aren't hitting because I've been out of stock, and then you're just constantly in this cycle where you get an inventory, it immediately sells out, and you got to order more, get it back in. Amazon warehousing and distribution really can be a game changer for you, especially in those scenarios, because what happen is Amazon will actually automatically, you can set it up so that way Amazon automatically pulls FBA inventory from AWD. So going down that pipeline, you ship in pallets from your factory instead to AWD, instead of just like, oh, we'll do like a box here, a box there, and then whenever your FBA is running a little bit low, let's say you set it so you have like 3 weeks or a month's cover, they'll automatically pull a box, and you never really have to worry about any of those kind of last minute, I'm staying up till midnight to get the shipment packed so I can get it out the door to the UPS in the morning. That could be a thing of the past, which is a good thing.
It is a good thing. Well, yeah, and I think again, what this is doing is eliminating friction for you. So I think a lot of people would, I have to deal with finding a 3PL provider. That used to be the way that it was, that they had to be like, oh, how am I actually going to, find someone to take care of all this for me? Well, Amazon just came along and said, hey, we'll solve that one for you. So that actually eliminated one more big piece of friction. And then if that weren't enough, this whole thing with the factory is kind of an interesting one too. Amazon's like really digging their hands deep, and they've kind of eliminated a lot of this. I kind of had to do this with a gradient, Jacob, because I was how do you explain
Amazon, but kind of Amazon.
It's not totally Amazon. How would you explain AGL or Amazon Global
AGL?
Logistics?
So I guess a better one, what we probably should have done, we should have made the arrow from factory to AWD yellow, but essentially it's that's probably taken over by Amazon. So AGL stands for Amazon Global Logistics. Currently, largely being used in China. So if you're manufacturing overseas into China, what we've seen is they partner with carriers to give, honestly, some of the most impressive rates for sea shipments from China over to the U.S. I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then also some of the
Crazy.
benefits are if you're, let's say you're a Canadian seller and then you're shipping in, you know that kind of the biggest marketplace is Amazon US, which it is just kind of numerically. But you're like, oh, I don't want to set up a warehouse, or I don't want to have my like brother who lives in like California hold all these units in his garage before it gets shipped out to Amazon's warehousing. The nice thing is with AGL is it can go straight from the factory directly into AWD. And I mean like straight from the factory. You could actually organize so they'll pick it up from the docks of your factory for like a small extra fee, but then it'll go straight to the boats and then straight into AWD and straight into Amazon FBA from there. So it's really making it so if you have your system set up in place, you don't ever have to touch your inventory. One thing that does come up with that is you obviously got to pay for a really decent quality control check because, again, you're never going to see the
Oh
inventory.
yeah.
But if your quality
Yeah.
control, you know it's there, you've paid for kind of like independent testing and make sure everything's good. You would never have to see your inventory, especially, and again, for sellers who are maybe not in the States themselves, this is like it's such a game changer for them. It's like removing like entire systems of people. So I know
Yeah.
lots of people, just the third party logistics, the warehouses out there, they're kind of shady. They're kind of scrummy. No one really wants to deal with them. And so,
Yes, we've dealt with those. I agree with that.
at
Kind of
least you're
shady.
giving, yeah, it's better like the saying with the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. So, the devil you know being
Yeah.
Amazon, at least you know Amazon can be a little shady, but you know it's Amazon. Whereas you're dealing with third party warehousing, get that off your plate and get onto something a little bit more
Yeah.
reliable. So,
I saw a lot of people jump into this probably in about 2015, 2017. They were trying to do the warehousing because they're like, I have a warehouse and I can do this. And they literally had no idea what they were doing. And it was just,
yeah.
no shelving and boxes falling over and toppling. And they're like, oh, yeah, your inventory is safe. Like Amazon is squared away. They ship billions of packages every month. So it's just not like, they know what they're doing, and
Yeah.
this chain really does one thing for you. I think that people don't take into consideration, which is it gives you a ton of time freedom.
Yeah.
Meaning you now have a system that you can. We maybe should put some palm trees around it because you could be literally on the beach,
Exactly.
um, making decisions, on the beach and kind of doing that. And one of our clients, Jason, he actually knows Chinese from his missionary days. So what he does with his family, he sells seven figures on Amazon. He takes and goes to China with his family 6 months out of the year. Just literally he's up and gone, and his whole business continues to run. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's a completely passive business because I think that's a lie that a lot of people have. You have to be willing to put in time and effort. I'm not talking get rich quick. I'm not talking any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This takes effort, but I would say like this is the lowest amount of friction
Yeah.
that's happened probably in the past 50 years of e-commerce 30 40 years of e-commerce selling. Like you're not going to
Well,
like who can do this? No one.
yeah.
Amazon's the only one that can really do that. So
Exactly. Well, and speaking to that, I mean, even if you're talking about like maybe you're not ready for your beach vacation in Tahiti for 6 months out of the year, but especially for people who are more on the kind of like solopreneur kind of, that's just maybe the phase you're at with your business. You're really just launching it. I've seen people burn out in excessive amounts because of like, okay, I want to launch because I have this great idea for a product and there are maybe some things I need to work on in the business to get this around. And then they get to things like logistics. So they get to things like kind of keeping stock in, and it burns them out. Like they're working
yeah,
like 12-hour days just doing this stuff to the point where maybe other parts of their business are falling apart because they don't have the time in the day to work on their business because they're too busy working in the business. So
yeah,
we're really going to be talking about a lot today, again, kind of hitting back to that big word is friction. So removing some of those frictions and things that we can get off your plate so you're making smarter decisions for your business. I think that's really where you're going to see a lot of the benefits coming through here. So this has really been a game changer, especially for a lot of those kind of smaller sellers that are like, there are not enough hours in the day for me to be both working on logistics and making the best product possible or dealing with customer relations. Maybe someone had a bad review and I have to get back to them, or I want to make sure that
yeah.
I get out of their shipments and things like that. So it really is a game
I agree.
changer.
Well, and one of the things I kind of want to say is a game changer too. You actually hinted at a little bit earlier, but one of the things that will kill Amazon FBA sales faster than anything is running out of inventory.
Yep.
This literally solves all that. If you put the inventory in AWD, Amazon is responsible for it. They're actually being predictive and going, hey, we need to have 2 more cases of this product shipped in, they just grab it. Like it
Yeah.
is that fast. Whereas you had to be predictive and go, I think our sell through is about this. And okay, now I have to create an order, get it shipped in. Oh, crud, Amazon isn't listening to me. Hopefully they'll take my shipment
My
this week. Oh,
warehouse
it's got
isn't
to go out on
responding to my
Friday.
emails.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a big one too. Yeah, yeah, my warehouse isn't listening. They're ghosting me. All
Yeah.
that's really taken care of here. So if you can keep Amazon FBA freshly filled and stocked, your Amazon sales will probably outdo almost anyone else's, because that's one of the things we've just seen people trip up and sort of die over and over again,
Yeah.
and then coming back.
Yeah. Well, and the big one is, I think with some of the clients we worked on in the past, they're always like, oh, why are our ad sales, like our ad spend so high? Like our product does well, it converts well. Why are we kind of spending so much on advertising? I think one thing that's often unlooking the advertising spend is if you're constantly out of sales, you're constantly out of stock, you have to earn back your position. And I mean, the most
Huge.
realistic way you're going to earn back your position is advertising. So if you're like, man, Amazon just doesn't give me the margins I need because I have to spend so much on advertising, but then you're out of stock almost every other week, I think
Yeah.
it's a solvable issue that I think a lot of people aren't really looking at the root cause of it. So that could be
Yeah.
another kind of big way it impacts your business.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. I think that's right. I mean, I guess what we're ultimately saying is Amazon is the perfect system for launches into FBA. It's kind of versus other platforms when you're comparing it to other platforms, Etsy, TikTok Shop, Costco, Sam's. We've had a lot of clients that have done sales and coming in from other platforms like this. They figured out how to get into other retail, Target, Costco, Sam's, all that kind of stuff. This is perfect for that. It replaces all this, but you can also use it as a method to go like, hey, if my stuff works on Etsy, on TikTok shops, on anywhere else, on eBay or whatever the case is, launch it onto FBA. It will most likely already work well, but you just have, an enormously bigger audience of people that are looking to buy things already on Amazon. So if you're kind of finding any success out here or seeing success out there and it's not yet on Amazon, go get it done quickly. I think that would be a good method too. The other way is if you've already got your own branded site. One of the things right now is Shopify Connect and buy it with Prime. Is it buy it with Prime? I think it is, Jacob.
Buy with
Prime. Buy with Prime. Yeah. You mind just talking a little bit about the Connect and buy with Prime and on those, especially if you have your own site, like what that looks like and what that could mean.
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest one, obviously, Shopify has kind of some of the best integration just because it's the biggest platform. But even if you're running things like Wix sites, there are some really great integration apps. It takes a little bit more kind of finagling. So if your technical mindset, you can usually get some of those set up. But then the other benefit too is buy with Prime. If you have, let's say you're maybe a branded company, but you want to launch a merch page or something like that, or you're like, oh, I have these Nick tags, but I don't really have a Shopify kind of developed site. What you can do is you could actually launch the buy with Prime button just kind of to get your foot in the door, where you have your products in Amazon, but then you can use that to create listings, let's say, on your website that'll just pull from Amazon's inventory. So obviously there are some downsides, like the seller would have to have a Prime account, or the customer would have to have a Prime account in order to purchase. But again, it's more of a proof of concept. What we're looking here is what are some kind of quick wins that you can use the Amazon infrastructure for, and then kind of expand out from there. And then if you want to kind of take it further, there's always things like the multi-channel fulfillment program where you could take your Amazon FBA inventory, you can get shoppers from your private ecom, and then just use Amazon's fulfillment network to fulfill that order. So there's great pipelines in all of that.
Yeah, but basically Amazon's jumping on logistics for that too. Yeah, got your own site. We'll just go ahead and fulfill them from our warehouses. It's pretty darn amazing. And then again, we have, bricks and mortar. If you already are selling in bricks and mortar, we have a lot of clients we brought in from bricks and mortar that they're already getting sales, Walgreens or anything like that. And those products work great on Amazon as well too. Just launch your top sellers, use Amazon logistics, and make it about as hassle-free as you can. Lower the friction on your side, and do that. And I kind of want to get into. We've kind of talked about the friction from the seller side, from your side as someone that's looking at launching onto Amazon, and really what Amazon can do for you. I really want to move us into the friction on the buyer side, on the shopper side, because I think that's one of the big factors that will stop your launch probably faster than anything we've got going here. But again, I offer the Sync or Soar Full Throttle Amazon Launch Guide. It's a free resource that you can take and use. We're going to pop the link to that inside
It's in the
of
chat
the
for you
chat.
right now.
Yeah, into the chat right now. Or if you want it, you can just type the word fast, comment the word fast into there, and we'll make sure we get that to you individually. This is really an important launch tool because it covers more than we've just covered here. So it's not just logistic, but it's actually how to win on Amazon. It goes through and gives you checklists and resources and where to go and actual examples of what to say and what to do on everything like that. And I think one of the reasons that I created that resource and why it's so good, it's really detailed. You can skim it in minutes obviously, but you can go back through and actually dig in and follow everything along step by step. But one of the reasons that I created that is because what I am seeing sort of over and over again, sometimes with people that become our students inside of Pro Seller Elite or clients that we deal with and all that kind of stuff, especially if they gave a shot to Amazon, they tried Amazon on their own, is that they're making Amazon launches 10 times harder than it really needs to be. And the big reason we've been talking about, the big theme for why they're doing this is friction. So we talked about friction on, hey, selling online is hard already. Amazon just makes it so much easier with all the system. Amazon FBA fulfillment by Amazon just takes away a lot of that friction, especially when you add in Amazon warehousing and distribution, like we talked about, Amazon global logistics, like we talked about, even multi-channel fulfillment, like Jacob talked about. It just eliminates the friction on your side. But our goal, what we want to have is to eliminate the friction on the seller side as well, meaning like, what can we do to kind of get rid of all of the stuff that would stop sellers from buying on Amazon. And we're going to break this down into 3 distinct ways to get friction-free results, to make it friction-free from the seller, from the buyer side of thing, meaning the person that's on Amazon that's could be interested in your product right now, one of those 70 million shoppers that'll be on Amazon today, their credit card's locked and loaded. What can we do to make the path to, first of all, getting to them, to making ourselves visible to them being on our listing, to ultimately making their way to the add to cart button and becoming our customer at the end? How can we make that as friction free as possible? So we're going to cover 3 ways. The first way we're going to cover is low friction visibility. And this is going to be broken down into things that really talk about your visibility on Amazon, because if they can't find you, it really makes no difference. So you could be, we've seen this a lot of times. I have people reach out to me and say, I launched onto Amazon. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? They're like, I'm on there, but no one's buying from you. And it's like, the reason they're not buying from you is they can't see you. You're not findable, you're not discoverable, you're not anywhere in their face where you need to be.
Yeah.
And so it's amazingly one of the areas that I think is most important for this. And Jacob's going to kind of talk a little bit about this. And it's so simple that you may just kind of roll your eyes at us bringing this up. But we found it to be so profound that if you do this right, like, it can absolutely turn around a business on Amazon almost quickly. And that one is main images.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with main images, that's kind of one of the most overlooked sections of a listing. I've seen it just time and time again when sellers are setting up their listing, like, oh, main image. Amazon has all the requirements, but it has to be on the white background, it has to be plain. So I'll just kind of do a Canva background remover on our product, throw it up there, and then we're good. Let's think about the rest of the kind of suite. But what we're really seeing on main images for listings that we've worked on that do exceptionally well is that is really one of your first places where you can start to sell. You can start to speak to what's unique about your product, and that really kind of leads to lower friction visibility. People want to know what they're getting into before they even click. When we're talking about Amazon specifically, Amazon's such a unique, like, ecosphere of a shopper where it's such a fast-paced marketplace. I mean, e-commerce in general has gotten very fast, but Amazon, you're talking like millions of a second where someone's making a split decision whether they're going to click on your listing or another, and people's time is precious at this point. So for main images, if you just have kind of a basic main image of your product, but no one really knows the benefit of your product in like kind of an innate way very quickly, then they're going to go kind of find someone else's. So the relationship between that main image and the title, if you just kind of have that product there, but it's not really kind of apparent what your super kind of unique selling benefit of is, then I would go back to your main image. We're working on kind of different variations where kind of thinking in the most distilled way, what is the benefit of my product? So, I mean, the one I'm showing here, the hair, obviously, I think the benefit that it's speaking to is kind of volume and length. And so it needs to be very apparent that these are going to give you kind of that insane volume and length that people are looking for. And so what this main image actually does that I think a lot of others don't is if you were to just show a picture of the hair extensions, maybe like curl, or I guess it's a wig, maybe like curled up or just kind of by itself, it doesn't really show the length or the volume. So actually showing it on a person, it can show you what that can do to transform your look. It's something that is very easy for the human mind to just concept, be like, oh, I can just replace me with the lady in the main image and I'll probably look something similar to that. So that's where I think, again, some things like this, we're seeing pretty decent kind of sales upticks pretty early on. And they're doing a good job of giving you that kind of like, you're able to put yourself in that model's footsteps. You're able to see this product in your life. You're able to envision how your life is going to be better with this product in it in a very kind of real and visceral way. And it happens very quickly before you even click on the listing. So that's something that we're kind of always thinking about whenever we're talking main images. What do you uniquely bring to the table? And if it's not apparent in your main image, then you've done something wrong. You got to go back. You got to work up 3 new variations for your main image and then go ahead and test them, see which ones start to drive with that curiosity. So that's one of the big ones for main images, really kind of it's the beginning of the sales process. And I think people tend to overlook that one the most. So
Yeah, and kind of adding to what Jacob's already saying, like this is first of all completely against terms of service main image.
yeah,
So like it's
it
surprising
should
this
be
is working.
suppressed.
It should be suppressed, but like you look at what that's generating just based off of that, the 120,000 a month, it's a new launch. So obviously they're doing something right psychologically to get that there. I think this could be better. There's probably a number of ways this could be better, but this is just to point out like this is almost like your billboard on the super highway
Mhm.
that is Amazon, because this is the only thing people are going to see. If we kind of go out here, let's actually just do this. Let's just do lace front wigs.
Yeah.
Let's just do lace front wigs. I'm guessing that's maybe a Jacob. I don't even know here. So we'll go on to Amazon. We'll pull this
Maybe I
up. We're
should be
going to
more
do
familiar
lace.
with the wig game.
Yeah, like the lace front wigs. You're missing out on that
Yeah.
market. So we're kind of seeing here, one of the things that we're seeing and is that like that's your billboard. That main image that we just showed
Yeah.
you on that previous one is the billboard. It's all they're seeing right now. It's all they're seeing. So we want to lower friction by trying to make that as applicable and easy to understand as possible, and
Yeah.
get that attention as fast as possible.
Well, I think you just
So
hit it here, saying easy to understand as possible. I think there's 2 extremes with the main image where one side is like, oh, let's just flip the product just in a kind of crappy white background. And the other side is, oh, let's throw all this stuff into the main image. And if you scroll up a little bit more, I saw one that kind of really speaks to this. A little bit more, a little bit more. I don't know if I'll be able to catch it. But yeah, the other side of it is people are like, oh, let's throw so much into the main image that it is really easy to actually almost confuse the eye to you're like, I don't really know what I'm seeing, to where there's so much movement, there's so much kind of just things in there that your eye can't catch on to something and really latch on to one specific thing. And one thing we like to say often is if you confuse the confused mind will just go somewhere else, especially when we're talking about how fast Amazon is. Like, and you need to be able to kind of condense your selling point, what's unique about you, into a way that the mind can easily grasp onto in a very quick way. So you don't then the eye doesn't wander to someone else's listing that does that. So.
yeah, and just to point out some things here that people may not know, which will kind of lead us into our next point in a second. I did this search based off of this listing. So I just basically went and grabbed this listing's doing, 100 something thousand a month, just launched. But what I did is I just went and pulled that search term, lace front wigs. And you're going to see what's happening here. Top row, this is a paid advertising right here. You can see over here, if you could look over, it says sponsored. You're going to see second row, sponsored, 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 sponsored. All of these are sponsored, but they're actually not selling that much. I wouldn't be super excited about these. So these are not great examples necessarily of what to do. They're just paying to be here. So when we get into the ones, when we first get into the ones that are not sponsored, these are the ones that are actually selling decently. We can sell 1,000 a month, 500 a month, 1,000 a month, 1,000 a month, 2,000 a month. And I think what Jacob was talking about, this is very easily digestible. And it just happens to also be Amazon Terms of Service compliant. And it's selling the most out of any of these right here. So it's selling double what any of the top sellers are right here. It's very easily high contrast, looks good, shows this. I don't even know what this is, but that's actually part of the trick people don't realize. That little thing right there that I don't know what it is, I'm guessing it's just a swatch of the color of the hair.
Swatch,
That's enough to get, yeah, exactly. It's enough to make me curious and click on this image and get onto the listing where they can now start to sell me. So your first goal here is just to grab attention. One of the best ways to grab attention, I'll just show you right at the top. Notice what's happening here. This is moving. This is video. This is a space that no one is really playing in right now on Amazon. Everyone gets it on TikTok. They're getting it on Insta, but very few people are understanding the value of video on Amazon, and it is getting attention and doing gangbusters as far as being able to get out there and get out there and getting attention and low friction visibility. So you have anything to kind of thoughts on that one, Jacob?
No, I mean, I think one of the big ones for video ads people don't tend to kind of realize is that it doesn't have to be the most high production. I think the biggest thing is you just need that visibility. So, I mean, this one, if we go back to this, one thing that they really understand is just the movement. Something about hair jiggling just tickles something in their monkey brains, I guess. we want to look over there and kind of see what's going on. But it's
what's going on.
Yeah, that video can literally be thought by me with my iPhone in like maybe 20 minutes of setup plus maybe some color correcting, just like very basic stuff. And then you're live. Like you have a video ad that can start generating those sales. And so, I mean, to some degree, I think people, when they think of video, they're like, oh, it's going to be this whole production thing. I got to go get my lights. I got to go maybe rent some lights. I got to hire someone to do this production. I think the best video to some degree is one that you can get up quickly because you really want to start testing hooks. What can really start to grab that attention quickly, even if the hook doesn't have to be like text or verbal. It could just be something as much as like, oh, the hair jiggling this one way. Whenever I do it, it gets a lot of attention. So then maybe if I want to go invest, I can go buy some better lights and we'll do another video iteratively. But you wouldn't know what works well if you hadn't kind of started putting something up in the first place. So just moving quicker with video, getting some of that up will really help start generating that kind of attention for you quickly on. So.
I agree. I think, these are some of the biggest ones that people don't take into consideration. On your launch, low friction visibility is going to be key. It's going to be one of your first moves. You really got to make that main image. What is it doing to get attention? Video ads. If you figure it out right, and I have a whole system inside of our Pro Seller Academy, these PPC wins, a whole system that goes into that inside of the Pro Seller Elite. Also, this talks about it a lot. And this, I have some advanced training, and some of the advanced stuff that we have in here too is, oh no, it's back on this section now. I moved it, so it's my fault. Some of the advanced stuff is we have AI tools to really sort of help do that so much faster that will get you really moving much quicker. So, Jacob, if you mind, you can find the link to the Pro Seller, and we'll kind of put that in there. But these are, I would jump, if I were you, I would come in and jump into this. If you're sitting here going like, yeah, I understand, I need main images, main in videos that really do the work. This kind of stuff will really teach you how to do that fast. This one will teach you about the images and how to do that as a process, not just as like throw up some images, because that's what a lot of people do. This one, there's also a hack in this training on how to get videos done in like minutes instead of months, kind of a thing. So I think those will really be some really good moves for you, as well as that to kind of move those along. But I would say those two are some of the bigger ones that you'll need to focus on. The other one, a lot of people don't take into consideration, but I'll show you here. Jacob will cover this in a second. But if you're kind of out here in the wild on Amazon, one of the things, if you just kind of look at what's available to you, even on the video ads, so we've already covered main images, main image, right? Video ads. Some of the other things you're going to see is a title, and then this little thing right down here. That little thing is the reviews. There's review stars on almost every listing. If it's not, It makes it kind of difficult to overcome, but you're going to just notice this little star rating and review system that they've got going on here on Amazon is one of your biggest players. And that's actually a huge player for visibility as well too. And
Yeah.
Jacob, you had some maybe anything you could say about reviews or add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think reviews, if we're talking about friction, that's probably one of the biggest like friction points is causing direct friction. And that is most people, what they're looking for in those reviews, especially before they start getting into the reviews to look for specifics, is they're looking for like social proof that they want to overcome that friction of not feeling like they're the first kind of dumb to try listing for the first time. So wigs might be kind of a little less kind of important, but especially when you get into things like, I mean, we do a lot of work in the like over the counter medication space. If we have an over the counter medication that has 0 reviews on it, it's very hard to get that listing moving kind of organically because people don't want to put something in their mouth that someone else hasn't done before. So again, what those reviews are really speaking to is that, okay, if I'm going to purchase this, I'm going to spend my hard earned money on something. I want to get something that I know at the very minimum won't kill me and at the best will actually kind of improve my life. So people really kind of underestimate how much those reviews can do in a launch. We really see that it starts to kind of take effect in waves. So if you're at 0 reviews, getting up to the first 20 to 30 as quickly as possible is such an amazing win. And that's where things like the Vine program can be great. Amazon's Vine program. I mean, essentially for like I think it's $200 for 30 reviews. You could have 30 reviews in like 2 weeks. Normally, if you're just selling organically, you're getting started. That can take you upwards of like a couple of months, especially if you're doing like, oh, I'll have my friends and family do leave a review. It's gonna take you like 2 or 3 months to like track down your friends and family and message them every day. Oh, have you left the review yet? Have you left the review yet? It's just not a reliable source. So getting things like the Vine to get up to those 20, 31st kind of reviews really kind of helps overcome some of that social proof of, again, like I'm not the first kind of idiot to try this product. If I purchase it, there's a good chance I'm going to get something a little bit reliable. And then from there, as you kind of continue to expand, as you start to hit the 100 mark, the 200 mark, and then up to the 1,000 mark, you really start to see things will just kind of astronomically change for your listing as you hit these different kind of milestones in your review. So it is something to kind of definitely count as an investment into your listing as early on as possible. And I think it'll really help overcome that friction on the visibility side. Because again, the biggest thing is whenever we're looking at the main page for Amazon, before you actually click on a listing, all of those review counts, they're made available to you. So all you're seeing is main image, title, review count. That's one of the kind of the big three that you need to make sure that you're hitting. If that review count's not there, most likely people are going to go click on something that at least has some proof attached to it.
Yeah, well, I think that's absolutely true. And again, we're covering all of this stuff. I'm just, the best resource I can really point you to is Pro Seller Elite. In there, we go over a whole section on how to get reviews, how to scale reviews, even some cheats. A lot of people don't realize that you can use reviews, if done right, to get SEO, meaning free traffic. I have a whole free traffic masterclass in here as well too. So I think that really, if you go into any of these kind of things, you can find this in there as well too. But the free traffic masterclass is in there, and that shows you how to get that. But one of the things that a lot of people don't take into consideration is how any of this kind of stuff plays into your free traffic as well too. And you can use reviews to actually get free traffic as well too. So I just kind of want to be able to point that out as well too. Let's move on and kind of talk about low friction sales, because we've been talking about the idea of friction and how to sort of eliminate friction. So far, we've covered all the aspects of sort of being out here in the wild to get attention, main image, title, then you got your reviews, and then video ads, and how to do those quickly. I showed you inside of here how to go find those resources rather quickly. Jacob, we'll put the link to that down into the thing if you haven't done that already, on how to set up. You can literally get video going in like an hour instead of months and weeks. And so it's so fast to be able to do that.
Well, and there's a free 7-day trial, so that link will be down there in the chat for you.
Oh, that's a really good point too. Thank you, Jacob, for mentioning that. Yeah, we've kind of set that up for you because you're here with us live, so we're going to be able to do that for you. One of the things that I want to really talk about is low friction sales. And the idea is a lot of people don't realize that they think sales is some magical thing or that marketing is some magical thing. And Jacob and I are talking a lot about recently about we do not buy magic or sell magic. Like that's just not how things work. There are metrics, there's methods, and there's marketing, and there's very simple process ways to do. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. One of the things that will help a lot is this process called AIDA. It's AIDA, and it's attention, interest, desire, and action. It's literally just a very simple, very straightforward methodology to get sales. And so when you're on a listing, when you're looking at your own listing, part of the things you're looking at is like, hey, how can I get attention? We've already spoken a lot about that. This video, getting your main image set up correctly will get attention in the right way. That's one of the reasons this one's doing 2 times more sales than all the others, because they have this has this image set up correctly in the right way. So our first goal is just to get attention. Money follows attention. It's a universal truth, whether you're on Amazon, whether you're on Shopify, whether you're on TikTok. It's one of the biggest reasons why the Kardashians make billions instead of millions, because they know how to get attention. So you have to learn this and sort of master this idea of attention. What we do is we really focus on getting attention right here inside of this section of a pro seller, and also this section of pro seller. Really focus on getting attention in the right way. Once you have attention, you're just going to continue down that process. I have to stir up some interest. I have to keep you engaged just a little bit longer. So once I'm actually on the listing, what am I going to do to keep you engaged? Really, this one for selling $171,000 a month and only launching that late is not doing a good job. We found that 63% of sales happen right over here in this image stack. So that means most of them will never go down here and read all this stuff that's necessary. But that said, it's the process to get here. Again, no magic, it's a process, is actually to do the wording first, to get that correct, then use that to lead your image design. When you do that correctly, you actually follow this process almost precisely. You're using the interest to stir up desire, because that's the thing that's going to get the action. The desire is the thing that's going to get the action. Everything else is just lead. I'd get your attention to start a sales process with you, to build up some interest, to actually move into desire portion is what's going to actually cause the action. And on Amazon, the action is just going over here and adding the add to cart or the buy now and doing that effectively. But what we want to do is essentially take you through that process of how do you actually do that? How do you actually do that in a way that makes sense? So one of the best resources I can point you to, honestly, 100K Matrix. This Jacob and I refer back to in our own business when we're dealing with clients like Disney and all those kind of things. We actually refer back to this probably more than any other thing that goes on here. So this is a little bit more difficult, to be honest with you. This takes some work. I have an AI tool that will help with this. But once you have this, the process is here to go to the 100K persuasion. What words do we actually need to say correctly? Then go from here and go to here. And if you just solve those basic things, your sales will actually start to do well, and you'll launch already pretty massively beyond what most other sellers will probably ever be able to do. So I think that's one of the big ones. And then the other one we kind of want to talk about is in this whole idea is just poking at pains. If I have one skill that I've been able to do that I said has made more millions for my clients than anything else, it's poking at pains. Meaning I find whatever is hurting them right now, and we just poke at it a little bit more. Oh, you're embarrassed when friends come over unexpectedly and knock on the door that your carpet's all chewed up because of your dog. I'm going to poke at that pain all day. That will make millions. Oh, you're embarrassed because your hair is thinning. We're going to poke at that pain, and we're going to poke at it all day. You're embarrassed when you go outside because your skin isn't even colored. Oh, we're going to poke at that pain and show you how our product will get you the solution that you want. So those are the big ones that you really need to focus at for low friction sales. But there's another one, and Jacob's going to cover it here in just a second. This one, I think I actually think, people understand this stuff. They understand at least conceptually kind of what I'm talking about. But I would say this is, I wouldn't think it would fall into an advanced skill, but this one right here is something that people just overlook. And it's so simple for improving margins, for jumping up sales, getting more attention from Amazon. And I think it's critical. And I don't know why people don't think about it maybe more because maybe Jake because they think about Amazon as very linear or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think some of it is maybe once you're in the weeds of just dealing with Amazon day to day, it's hard to think next level strategy. And I think that's where some of the benefits of a group like Pro Seller Elite can provide to sellers. It's a group, a like-minded community of kind of everyone, especially when we're talking in the community section. You see people posting, we're posting ideas, we're kind of helping people move forward in their businesses in ways that they might not immediately think of. Whenever you're like, oh, I have to get this shipment out by next week and my entire week's just going to be eaten up by the shipment, but then you don't have time to go like think about the other things that could actually be pushing your business forward. So that's where some of the benefits like this come through. But if we go back to the other slide, as Sean was saying, one of the big ones people really don't think about is average order value. So we've already gone through low friction visibility, and then also things like ADA and then poking pains that get people on the listing, primed to buy. They're already bought in, they're into your products. But then what we also want to think about is, especially again, Amazon is a bit of a unique situation where it's really hard to do any kind of brand building or repeat customer building, anything like that. So realistically, if you have someone on your product, unless it's a product that has kind of a reuse life cycle. So if you're selling something like, oh, maybe I'm selling like catnip. People really like my catnip. They're going to come back on. If they want to buy catnip again, they'll maybe press the reorder button. But realistically, a lot of people, they're just going to type catnip into the search. And if you're not number one on the search like you were back then, they're going to click on someone else's listing. So we want to make sure that we're really maximizing the amount of time that we have people on our listings to get the maximum amount of valuable from them. So that's where something like AOV takes over, which stands for average order value. So there's a couple different ways we can really kind of boost our average order value, or at least be cognizant of ways that we kind of increase it to maximize the amount of time we have for people on our listings. One of them is going to be multi-packs. So inside your Sales Central, if you're on your Manage All Inventory page, for each listing, you'll see the title, you'll see the GTIN code, you'll see the ASIN, and then you'll see the SKU. That SKU is actually a hot link. It should be blue text instead of black. If you click on that, it's going to launch you into this really cool page that breaks down a whole bunch of things for your specific SKUs. One of the main ones that we're going to be looking at is the SKU economics page and the SKU kind of sales page. That one will show you your average order value. And if your average order value is over, or I believe it's like average units per order, if that number is over like 1.15, 1.2, that means people are pretty consistently purchasing more than one of your product. If that's the case, immediately drop everything you're doing, go to the GS1, purchase a new GTIN code, and create a 2-pack listing for your product. And I would do this kind of immediately because it's such a quick win. I don't know what necessarily the entire psychology is behind it. There's probably some studies I can go looking into, but people are more likely to purchase a 2-pack if there is a 2-pack available to them. Anyone can go to the quantity section right above the add to cart and put in 2, but it's probably because maybe it feels a little bit more gluttonous, or they're like, oh, I have to justify buying like an extra one. Whereas it's easier if there's already an option available to them to just click over and push the 2, then it's also a bit of that social proof, like, oh, if there's a 2-pack available, everyone's getting a 2-pack, so why don't I also get a 2-pack? And then also it's just, again, it's a little less frictiony than kind of going into the quantity, putting 2, and then you're like, oh, I have to justify putting in 2 of these in there. So getting multi-packs up quickly. Amazon's actually launching some new features that were previously only available to kind of massive clients and the like vendor central program, where they're allowing you to do virtual multi-packs. It's currently invite only, so if you have a really high selling SKU, you might have received an email that'll say that'll show up, and I think it's starting yesterday. They're going to start kind of testing it. And so from September 15th, I believe, till the middle of October, they're launching all these virtual multi-packs. But if you're not one of the few blessed that get the virtual multi-pack, then like I said, just go grab a GS1 UPC code, create 2, and then you can even run it as a fulfilled by merchant. So if you have some stock on hand, someone orders 2, cool, you can go ahead and just bundle them together and ship them out. And then if it seems like it's selling pretty well, go ahead and create an FBA listing and then make its own like kind of dedicated store. So multi-packs are a big one. Another one, virtual bundles. I was a little kind of always kind of skeptical on kind of the benefits of virtual bundles because it used to be kind of more of a standalone listing. But now Amazon is actually adding that virtual bundle section right below like the size and color indicators. There will be a section that says bundles with this product. And so if you have more than one product, there may be part of like an interconnected system, or if you're like, oh, there's a couple of different ways that people can use these products together, there's some sort of overlap. Creating that virtual bundle is a good way to get your average order value up because they're not just purchasing one. If you can get them over to the bundle, they're purchasing that product and your other product. So let's take an example. Let's say you sell both a dog toy and then maybe dog chews. If someone was coming onto Amazon to purchase a dog toy and dog chews, they land on your dog toy listing. Great, you have them for that one sale, but then whenever it goes to dog chews, they're going to go back into the Amazon search bar, type in dog chews, and then you have to compete with everyone else for dog chews again to get both of those sales. Whereas if you have that virtual bundle right there, they're like, oh, I was going to get dog chews already. I could just click onto the virtual bundle, and we don't give them a chance to go to someone else's listing as much as possible. So it's a little bit about control. It's a little bit about removing the friction of, oh, I got to go to the sale or search bar, type in someone else's listing, things like that. And then another one, kind of in the same vein, if we're not doing virtual bundling, you could also get a little creative with your parenting. So Amazon's kind of specific on how they want you to be using parenting, but there are some cool hacks that you can do to kind of parent separate listings together that might not be 100% related. But again, what we're trying to do is keep them from clicking off onto someone else's listing. So if you can get creative with your parenting, you can probably lead them to some of the other awesome products that are in your catalog to try and get them to purchase and add more than one to their cart. And then also the last one, I don't know if any of these listings have a brand story, but if you scroll down to the branded content, there is this about this one doesn't recognize it, but there's an about the brand section that is more maybe to speak about the brand specifically. But what we like to use it for is cross-selling because they have these great modules that allow you to show different options that you have from the brand. Here you go. So as you can see, in addition to whatever product you landed on, you can also add links to any of your other products. This one's a little bit kind of harder to have like direct cross-selling, but it's free real estate here. So if you're a branded license, go ahead and create this, make sure it's kind of organized well so people can understand it. It's a great way to get some of your other products into people's carts. So some really great tools for cross-selling. Some of them require you to be a little bit creative, but you're going to see the best benefits whenever you're being creative anyway. So, and then Pro Seller Elite, we have this awesome community where if you're ever like, oh, I want to get my cross selling up, what are some great ways to go through that? Post that question in there. I'm on pretty regularly. Sean's on pretty regularly. We'll jump in, and then we have an awesome community of other sellers who might have some super unique ways that they've had it work pretty well in the past. So, in the chat, we have a link to a free 7-day trial for Pro Seller Elite. So.
Yeah, I think that's good too. And also, just so you know, there's whole trainings on all that stuff done by me. So I do all have video training. This is hours and hours of training. So you can just pop through it. One of the things that we've got going for you as well too is you have some quick wins. So there's sometimes people are just busy. You can just go through and just pick out one of these things, take about 10 to 15 minutes. And all of these are designed under shorter, more wins. But you have hours of that. Plus you have all the previous recordings where we actually like go over people's listings live in a hot seat kind of a thing. We discuss topics of the day. We do trainings that you just will not see on YouTube or anywhere else. So that's a really good resource. And as Jacob said, it's a 7-day free trial to kind of get you going on there. I have one more section I want to cover. We're going to cover this one kind of quickly because we already sort of covered it a little bit. This is low friction advertising. And our objective here is really to kind of get you into how do we actually get results from two separate areas? One is search. And so you already know this. We already kind of did it out here where I came out and I typed in lace front wigs. And this is what happens. This is search, meaning people out here looking for this product. And I'm trying to compete with all these people to do that. One of the best ways, video ads. We kind of already talked about that, just how effective that is. Inside of this one here, PPC wins. There's a whole system on how to do that, but there's also talks about how to do video ads. So that's a really great training on how to do video ads, which I think will be extremely valuable to it. And there's also an AI shortcut in there. So if you want to do that a little bit faster rather than waiting, I think that's a good way to do that as well too. But really getting videos up out here is a big one. And then the other way too, so that's one is how do we dominate search? Videos and your main image are going to be some of the biggest one. But there's a second way that people don't realize a lot, and that's on listings. So if I go look, I could probably just guarantee on pretty much any of these listings here. So we'll just start with this one. Again, this one, I forget what this was doing. $171,000. It only launched close to a month ago. So $171,000 a month, only 60 reviews. So it's not like really super killing it. But let's look what else is happening on this listing. Aside from all the things that I've looked at, because I looked at guitar pedal stuff, because I'm a nerd when it comes to guitar pedals. So it's retargeting me over there. It comes down here, and it's also there's who this person is coming over here, and they're actually Hool. I don't know how you pronounce that. They're advertising right on the listing. They're advertising right on this listing. A really great way to do it also is this frequently bought together. Products customers bought together. So Amazon places these here, and I have a whole way to hack that system inside of the Underdog brand on how to do that. So you can actually just hack this whole system and get your product placed right here. You can do it with ads, and you can do it some other ways as well too. But also you'll notice here, but couple things that really are interesting to me. Let's just see if this actually has it. Product videos. These are actually videos that this seller put up on the listing. But look at this, what's happening here too. Similar brands on Amazon. Amazon is allowing you to put video onto other people's listings and target it. But what I want you to notice here, there's a space for your video on this listing. And as Jacob will point out, Amazon changes these depending on how well the video performs. So if you do it better than a woman just standing in front of a curtain and walking with your video ads, you can actually win the top placement. And that means a couple of things that this means is that you can be on this listing for something that's not even your thing. So one of the things I want you to notice here really quick is this is all about clothing, but look what's happening up here. Dental fresh water additive. What this is actually saying is this is for pets. This person has probably found out that people that buy this also have pets and that they want to take care of their pets. So now they can advertise. And what this has done, this person has done something spectacular here in that they've completely sidestepped this search thing that goes on out here. Meaning if I put this in here, I'm out here looking and I'm competing against everyone else that's selling the front lace wigs. That's a bloodbath. This is very expensive to fight this way, but this is a little bit less expensive because now they're already on the listing and all these people are looking at clothing. But if they happen to be an audience that is also takes care of their pet, now I'm speaking to them silently. They're not thinking about every other dental fresh water additive for dogs. I'm not competing against anyone else for that right here. It's a quieter space for me to start advertising. So one of the places you want to look at is really on other people's listings. How can you advertise there? And it's just a little bit quieter and a great way to really push ahead and slow friction advertising. Again, all of that's covered here in this PPC training and some advanced training that I've got out here as far as brands and all of that kind of stuff. But it's a really good way. Jacob will drop a link to the Pro Seller Elite, and you can just jump in there like a 7-day trial. You can come in and go through all of this training. I got 90 days worth of training, but you can just jump through it if you really want to. There's downloadable sheets in this and resources, and for the AI prompts, you can come in here and grab those all before the 7 days end if you want to and completely do that. But I think you'll end up wanting to stay just because of the community and what we provide. Jacob and I are on there. We have regular office hours where we're on helping people. We're doing hot seats. We're answering questions that come up with all kinds of crazy stuff like Seller Central support and all of that kind of stuff when you're on there, and how to launch. What do I launch first? All of that. We're on there. I'm on. He and I are on together. I do another coffee hour where I hang out. We do special trainings. All of those things are available to you. And plus, we're on the here. But the other thing I love about this is our community. Like, our community is just crazy good. These are actual sellers who are making moves today, learning. They've already learned some hard lessons, and they're winning on sales. We have people that in here, like Hira just talked about how she doubled her sales on multiple SKUs just by doing the simple things. I don't even think she got past like less than 3 or 4 on this kind of a thing. Is already making huge wins on that, and it's all the stuff that we've done to take brands over $100 million a year. So anyways, we'll pop the link to that down there. It's again, you get a 7-day free trial, so you get just to jump in there and kind of learn what you want to. I think that would be one of sort of like the biggest wins that you could probably have. It's called Pro Seller Elite, and that'll be a good move for you. We've covered a lot today. I've covered, how to launch, how to lower friction from your side, how to lower friction from the seller side. All of that stuff, when you get it working together, is really your best path to move forward as far as launching onto Amazon. And if there's any questions, go ahead and just reach out on to me on Pro Sellers. Probably the best way to do it, even if you want to just jump in there for the trial and reach out that way. Make sure you get the resources that we mentioned earlier. And I'm excited to see how your launch goes onto Amazon, whether it'll sink or soar. I believe with this information, you'll have what you need to actually soar in your launch onto Amazon. All right. Until next week, have a great day.